So, because of the first rabbit hole that I was in with my first video, I came across this video by this creator. I forgot her name, but I will probably put it on the video in post editing, and maybe I will also put it in the description so you can check out her content. But she was talking about how apparently this whole no contact thing, where there are adult children who are going no contact with their parents, apparently there are media outlets like news sites and such calling it a trend. And I don't know, like that kind of doesn't sit well with me, like to call it a trend. It's something that trivializes this whole situation. But let's just watch a video and like we'll get into more of my thoughts.
The media has found a new villain when it comes to family estrangement, and somehow it is never the parent. I was asked on a podcast recently how I feel about this new wave of articles coming out, and I feel exhausted by how predictably shallow this conversation has become. One of the lines I read in one of these articles was, "Is it really good therapy to break your mother's heart?"
Okay, so just within the few seconds of this video, you can already tell that I guess a lot of these articles, or the people writing these articles, already are taking the side of the parent. And in a sense, I guess it kind of speaks to what sort of generation they belong to, because like clearly they are the ones being cut off, so they thought it would seem right in their minds for them to write articles like this. Because I don't think that anyone from my generation, millennials or Gen Z, is actually looking at this and then thinking automatically that we are the problem. But again, let's just keep watching.
Why is the mother's heart the starting point for the adult child's therapy? Why should the adult child's therapy become yet another place where the parent gets centered?
And already you can even hear it, like the questions that she's asking. It's like I said in the first video that I made about this topic, which is that people are already putting their responsibility of like mending the relationship on the child instead of the parents, which is insane. Because again, like no child wakes up one morning and decides, you know what, I'm just gonna cut off my parents for no reason. Like that is not something that happens.
It is like watching people perform crazy mental gymnastics to find any explanation for estrangement other than the possibility that the parent's behavior made the relationship unbearable. One of the experts even argues that estrangement is being driven by this self-centeredness and self-delusion, and goes on to say that that's a bad thing because self-centeredness and self-delusion will ruin families.
Another point that is kind of insane that they're making is that this whole thing about it being self-centered and delusion is pointed towards the adult children instead of the parents. Like no one ever thinks that the parent did anything wrong. And it's something that even I have experienced in some cases, where whenever people would ask me about my relationship with my mother, I'll tell them that, oh, like my mother did this, my mother. But then like they never take it seriously. Matter of fact, most people would even tell me that I maybe should have went to my mother and apologized, and it would leave me confused, because I'm like, what exactly am I apologizing for? Because like I'm not the one who started this whole thing, right? Like I said, no child ever wakes up one morning and decides that, yeah, I'm just gonna cut off my parents. Like that is not something that happens. But somehow no one wants to put the blame on the parent. It's always the child that is wrong. And again, to kind of call this thing a trend, like I said, it trivializes the whole thing and it belittles our experiences with parents who treat us like this.
And you can't help but think as you're reading that, like, yes, exactly, keep going. You're so close to getting it. One article also put emotionally immature parent in scare quotes, as though this is some like flimsy phrase we just invented. Emotional immaturity is grounded in long-standing psychological theory. This is
again, one of those things where they're like, oh, emotionally immature parents are the ones, like putting it in air quotes. Like I remember I saw a video, I think it was like either an Instagram reel or a TikTok. I mean, you never know these days. But someone once said that they don't believe in the whole thing of like respecting your elders, because even dumb people get old. But in this case, it's not that our parents are dumb, but rather even people who are emotionally immature from a young age, they grow up to be old people and they still retain that emotional immaturity. And it is basically, I guess, reflected or shown in their behavior. Yeah, again, it's kind of crazy how these articles or these people are looking at this thing from that lens, and they're sort of like making it seem as if like the adult children in this case are the problem instead of their parents.
my expertise, so I don't expect everyone to know it at the level that I know it, but putting it in quotes like it's a TikTok trend, it's insulting and it's erroneous. Either way, this entire conversation is built on the assumption that adult children cannot be trusted to understand their own reality or their own relationships. It assumes that they are too gullible to make their own decisions, too suggestible, too unreliable to accurately describe what they experienced. It is incredibly infantilizing. You are essentially saying that an adult child couldn't possibly know what happened to them. And you're calling their refusal to accept your version of events a mental health problem. The next time somebody wants to write an article about emotionally immature parents, please call an expert. Call me and call the estranged adult children. Ask them for their text messages, the emails, the voicemails. Put those in the story, because once you do, you'll understand instantly what we are all talking about.
Okay, so that is the end of the video. Like, she did say a lot there, but yeah, for the most part, I do agree with her. Well, actually, not even for the most part. I think I agree with everything that she said, which is that a lot of the time when we talk about these things, especially with like either the people around us or whatever, people tend to take the parent's side. No one wants to hold the parent accountable, or no one even wants to check like, okay, like what could have the parent done to put a strain on their relationship with their child. And again, like, it's insane how everyone wants to look at the child but not the parent. But yeah, anyway, I mean, this is a short one. I just found this video interesting, that there are media outlets out there and articles being written about this situation, and somehow this is the takeaway that they're getting from, I guess, this whole thing, and they're basically calling it a trend where they're like, oh, it's just these youngins, I guess, just perpetuating a trend instead of saying, well, let's look at the parents of these children and let's try to investigate what is it that they could have done to estrange their relationships with their kids. But yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it for this video. I mean, like I said, it's a short one. It's just that I just found it interesting and I thought I'd record this reaction to it. But yeah, I guess I'll see you guys on the next video. Also, you know, like, subscribe. Still a new channel. I have no subscribers at this moment. So yeah, I mean, be the first, I guess. And I'll see you in the next one.